My dear students, let's continue with another topic of chapter 2, that structure of an atom. Here we are going to start with Schrödinger wave equation. This equation actually discovered due to the certain limitations of Bohr's model that he could not explain the dual nature of matter, that is wave as well as particle nature, which were given by de Broglie and some something else is added was added by Heisenberg. So these limitation that Bose could not explain, that is Heisenberg uncertainty principle also. So after that there was need was felt to discover a new model, and the first attempt were done by Erwin Schrödinger, because after the failure and some of the thing that was added by de Broglie and Heisenberg, the Bose model is not taken as the accurate model. So here they try to get something more information about the atoms. So here the first attempt were done by Erwin Schrödinger, that is the model which were given by Schrödinger is called to be as Schrödinger wave equation. So here Schrödinger, he has taken one function that is called as psi. This psi, because we are taking electron as a wave function, that's why this psi is taken as wave function of electron. Okay, so we know that a wave can propagate in three dimension, in three coordinates, that is called as x, y and z coordinate. So this wave function is calculated with respect to each coordinate, as a result of which Schrödinger wave equation were formulated with a mathematical expression as d square psi upon dx square plus d square psi upon dy square plus d square psi upon dz square. These are for the three coordinates, plus 8 pi square m upon h square, in bracket we have e minus v, bracket close, psi is equal to 0, where x, y, z are the three coordinates, and is the mass of electron, h we know that it is Planck's constant, E is the energy of electron, V is the potential energy of the electron, and psi is what, according to the equation, this psi represent the amplitude of the wave in the all three coordinates, amplitude of wave function. So here what do you mean by amplitude actually? So whenever we are taking any of the wave, so when the wave moves in the three dimensions, so the height of the crest and the depth of the trough is called to be as amplitude. Okay, so it was suggested that electron move as wave in all the three coordinate. Thus the relationship of movement in all the coordinates were explained by Schrödinger. So Schrödinger, he has given one equation in a differential form, that is differential equation of this one, that is h psi is equal to e psi, where this h is called as Hamiltonian operator. Hamiltonian operator is actually what, it is nothing, it is just like a mathematical operator, like we are using plus, minus, multiply and divide, like that this h is also represent an operator which depends on the kinetic energy and potential energy. Okay, so these are the equation which were given by Schrödinger to explain the wave nature of atom. So here we have only the mathematical expression of this one, derivation of this also we have, but these all things we have to do in the senior classes. Here we only have the introduction of Schrödinger equation. Okay, that this mathematical expression you people have to know. Now here we have significance of psi, that is significance of wave function. So here the first significance, that psi, it gives the amplitude of the wave associated with the electron. So in this case psi doesn't have much significance of telling about the probability of finding of electron. Okay, but if we will be taking the square of psi, so this square of psi gives us the intensity of electron at any point, means probability of finding of electron at any point. So Therefore this is known as probability density or amplitude. Okay, so a large value of psi square means the probability of finding of electron is large. As the value increases, the probability of finding of electron is increases. And if the value of psi is taken as 0, like psi square is 0, so the probability of finding of electron is what? It is negligible at that point. So this point where the probability of finding of electron is 0 is called to be as node. Okay, so whenever we are talking about the electrons, according to the Bose, these electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Okay, but here these are given by Bohr, but what Heisenberg said here, to locate or to get the exact position and momentum of electrons, it is not possible because the size of this one is very small. So to locate the exact position of electron around the nucleus, here the probability of finding of electron is depend on what? That is psi square. Okay, so these are given by whom? It is given by Schrodinger. So probability where finding of electron is maximum, that is called to be as orbital, where probability of finding of electron is maximum, and where the probability of finding of electron is 0 is called to be as nodes. Okay, so these two you people have to know what you mean by node and what do you mean by orbital. So with that concept we come to another point, that is concept of atomic orbital. What do you mean by orbital and what is the difference between orbit and orbital? Because orbit is what actually? Orbit is where the electron, it is just a path where the electron revolves. Okay, see, this is orbit where the electron revolves only, but orbital is whole place, it is three-dimensional place where the probability of finding of electron is there, that is orbital. This whole where we have dotted, these all are called to be as orbital, but orbit, it is just a round path, okay, where electron is revolving, that is orbit and orbital. So here we have some points of difference between orbits and orbital also, that I will give you later, or here I can just I will tell you what are the difference. But here if you need notes, that I think it is given in your NCERT book, or if you are having refresher, so it is given there also, but here I am going to tell you the difference. First difference between orbit and orbital is that orbit is what? It is two-dimensional path around the nucleus on which electron revolves. Okay, it is just a path. But orbital is what? It is three-dimensional space where the probability of finding of electron is maximum. That is orbital. Okay. Second thing is what? The orbits represent planar motion, but in orbital it represents 3D motion, three-dimensional motion. Okay, orbit, they have only one space, they have only one shape, that is circular shape. But if we are talking about the orbital are having different shape, like orbital we have s orbital, p orbital, d orbital, f orbital. So here the shape of s is spherical, shape of p is dumbbell, shape of d is double dumbbell, and shape of f we will do later on in the senior classes. Here we have to do only the shape of s, p and d. Okay, so if we are talking about the orbit, it is having circular shape, but in case of orbital they all are having different shape. Okay, next point, that is orbits, they are non-directional, because here if we are seeing, because it is evolving in a circular path, so here we cannot define the direction of any electron. But if we are talking about the orbital, they are directional except s, because the shape of s is spherical. Okay, now next we have that it can accommodate at the maximum of 2n square orbit. If we are talking about the orbit, here the number of electron which can be accommodated in one orbit is depends on 2n square, and 2n square is what? Here if we are taking the value of n is 1, so k is equal to 2, l is equal to 8, n is equal to 18, and n is equal to 32. But if we are talking about the orbital can accommodate only 2 electron in one orbital. Okay, it cannot accommodate more than 2 electron. So these are the difference between the orbit and orbital, which is very important. You people have to know about the difference, because it is very important question, it may be asked in your exam. So now we are going to move towards the very important topic, that is quantum number. So what do you mean by quantum number actually? So quantum number, they are set of four number which gives the complete address of an electron. Like if we need to know the address of anyone, like if you are finding or searching the address of any person, then what you want actually, or if you are sending any letter to any person's place, then you need to know their house number, their locality, their landmark, then their town, then district. Like these all things you people have to know. So if we need to locate electron, so address of electron is given by quantum number. All the sets of four quantum number give us the complete address of an electron. So here we have four type of quantum number, that is called as principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, then we have magnetic quantum number, and then spin quantum number. So let's start with the first quantum number, that is called to be as principal quantum number. So principal quantum number is denoted or represented by small n. Okay, so this principal quantum number, it is given by a scientist, that is Bohr, and principal shell or orbit in which electron are present, that is taken as n. So if the value of n is 1, it is k shell, if it is 2, then it is L, 3 that is m, or 4 that is n. So here we have further information which are given by principal quantum number. So the first is, it determines the size of the electron. Okay, it gives the size of the electron cloud. Next, energy of electron in hydrogen by relation. It also gives the energy associated with any of the electron. That also we have done in the previous section. That is, in Bohr's model, energy of the electron can be calculated with the help of principal quantum number by taking the formula, that is En is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 to the power minus 18 upon n square joule per atom. Okay, if we need any other unit like electron volt, we have to use minus 13.6 upon n square into z square electron volt per atom. Okay, so these already we have done in the previous topic. Next thing that we are getting with the help of principal quantum number, that is, it gives the maximum number of electron present in any principal shell. Okay, by taking 2n square. How do we know? Like if the value of n is 1, then here we are taking the 1 square, like C2 into 1 square is equal to what? 2. It means in the first one we are having only 2 number of electron. In the first shell we are having only 2 number of electron. Second, if we are taking n as 2, then here 2 square, that is 4, 4 into 2 it is 8. It means in the second one we are having 8 number of electron. In the third shell we can accommodate 18 electron. In the fourth one we can accommodate 32 electrons. So these information also we are getting through principal quantum number. Next, it gives the number of subshell in n. How many subshells are present, it can also be calculated with the help of this principal quantum number. That it gives the number of orbital present in shell by taking the value n square. Okay, if we are having n square, like if we are taking n as 1, so 1 square is equal to 1 only. So in s orbital we have only 1. In n shell we have only 1 orbital. Okay, if we are taking the value of n is 2, so 2 square, that is 4. In 2s we have in the second orbit, or in the second shell we have 4 number of orbital. 1 is for s and 3 is for p. Okay, next here if we will be taking a value of n as 3, that is 3 square is equal to 9. So here we have total number of orbital, that is 9. How do we know? Because here we have 3s, 3p and 3d. As it is having only one orbital, p is having 3 and d is having 5. The 5 plus 3 8 plus 1 9. So it also gives us the number of orbital present in any of the shell. Okay. It also gives us the radius of an shell. Here we can also calculate the radius. This also we already have done. in the previous topic that by taking the formula r is equal to 0.529 into n square upon z, angstrom. So this one, with the help of this one, we can also calculate the radius. Okay, now the second quantum number is azimuthal quantum number. This azimuthal quantum number is also called to be a subsidiary quantum number, or it is also called to be a secondary quantum number. This quantum number is denoted by small l. Okay, so the value of azimuthal quantum number which always be less than n. Okay, that's why here l is equal to taken as n minus 1. See, L gives the orbital in which the electron is present. With the help of L, we can know then in which orbital electron is present. Like if the value of L is 0, then the electron is present in S shell or S orbital. If the value of L is 1, then the electron is present in P orbital. If it is L is equal to 2, then electron is present in D orbital. Or if the value of L is 3, then electron is present in F orbital. So with the help of this one, we can easily know then in which orbital electron is present. Next thing, that it also determines the sub-level or subshell to which the electron belongs. Okay, so how do we know that from where the electron belongs? So with the help of this one, like by taking the formula, that is 2L plus 1. So with the help of this one, like if we are taking 2L plus 1, so here if the value of L is 0, then 2L plus 1 is what? Here the value of S is 1. So with the help of this one, we are able to know then how many subshell are present in any of the shell. If the value of L is 1, then P is equal to 3, L is equal to 2, then D is equal to 5, and if L is equal to 3, then F is equal to 7. So with the help of this one, we can also calculate the number of orbitals present in any of the shell. Now it also gives the angular momentum. Angular momentum can be calculated by taking mvr is equal to h upon 2 pi. That is by taking square root of L plus 1. So with the help of this one, we can also calculate the angular momentum. Next we have magnetic quantum number. This is the third quantum number. This magnetic quantum number is represented by small m. Here we can calculate the value of magnetic quantum number by taking minus L to plus L. Whatever the value of L, here we have to write it as minus L, 0 plus L. So it gives the orientation of the electron in the magnetic field. Okay. So here if the value of L is 0, then if 0, it means S, it is present in S subshell or S orbital. So M is also taken as 0. If the value of L is 1, it means electron is present in P subshell. Okay, so 1 means minus 1, 0 plus 1. It means 3 orbital is present in P subshell. If the value of L is taken as 2, it means 2 it is present in the D subshell. Or D means minus 2 minus means 2 means minus 2 minus 1 0 plus 1 plus 2. All total we are having 5 subshell. So with the help of this one, we can also calculate the number of orbital in each subshell. Okay. The last quantum number is called to be as spin quantum number. Spin quantum number is represented by small s and can have only two values for an electron. Like it gives the spin of any electron. Like we know that its electrons are always in motion. So whenever two electrons are present in any of the orbital, because we know that one orbital can accommodate only two electrons. So if two orbitals or two electrons are present in any of the orbitals, they should be present in the opposite side, means opposite phase. One should have plus half, means the rotation of this one or orientation of this one is as taken as clockwise, and another one is taken as anti-clockwise. So for clockwise we have the value that is plus half, and for anti-clockwise we have taken the value that is minus half. So this spin quantum number tells us the orientation of the electron. Okay, so these are all the sets of 4 quantum number. With the help of these 4 quantum number, we are easily get the address of any of the electron present in any of the present around the nucleus. So hope you all understood all the quantum number. If you will be getting any difficulty, then in the next class I will make you clear with my notes only, because everything is not written in this book. Many of the things is written very shortly, that you are, I think you will not understood these all things. So that's why I will give you my personal notes. With the help of this one, you can easily get all the point that I teach you now. Okay, so thank you for hearing me, students.